Hassan remained calm as the judge read the sentence, death by execution.
Josue Flores was murdered last Tuesday on his way home from school.
The men confessed to shooting the teen execution style.
There was some satanic type activity taking place.
Officers tell us Trujillo stabbed her boyfriend with stiletto heel shoes.
2-year-old Riley Ann Sawyer's brutal killing shocked the nation. She was beaten to death, stuffed in a plastic box found by a fisherman in Galveston Bay.
Former NFL player Antonio Armstrong Sr. and his wife, Dawn Armstrong, were murdered.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Antonio Armstrong Jr., guilty.
One by one, they described the deaths of the alleged other 8 victims of the convicted rail car killer.
Welcome to Season 4 of The Evidence Room. Our original docu-series takes you deep into the evidence archives to explore some of the most notorious crimes our area has ever seen. And we begin this season with a case against Ana Trujillo, who came to be known as the Stiletto Heel Killer.
Sunday, June 9, 2013.
What is your emergency, ma'am?
He started attacking me and so this time I hit him with my shoe and he's bleeding.
Is he breathing at all?
No, I don't know.
Okay, ma'am, we're dispatching emergency units to 1701 Herman, apartment 1801. Is that correct?
Homicide. He died?
Yeah, Stefan is dead, yes.
I was giving him mouth to mouth.
It's the crime that made worldwide headlines, all for one reason: the murder weapon. Ana Trujillo hit her boyfriend with its point 25 times. But it's what happened before that's up for debate.
He attacked me and I defended myself.
The day of the murder, Trujillo says she and victim Stefan Anderson had been drinking before they both went home to his luxury condo.
I walked in and all of a sudden, he just turned around and completely changed. And he was accusing me that I was going to leave.
Then she says he attacked her.
The pain was so excruciating and I was in fear and all I had was my shoe, so I just took my shoe off and I didn't know what else to do and I just started to hit him.
Why, if this was self-defense, you struck him some 25 times?
I wasn't counting or I wasn't intending to hit him. I didn't even know that I was hitting him or, that he was hurt because of his rage and he was still so strong. I cannot understand. He had been drinking like 3 days, binge drinking.
When you're a lifetime prosecutor and someone who's done homicides for a while, there are cases that hit your desk and you know immediately this is a special one. My name's John Jordan. I'm an assistant district attorney, and I was one of the prosecutors on the Ana Trujillo murder case.
How quickly did the case cross your desk?
Literally, I received the case the next day.
We learned some new details about the events leading up to the murder and the relationship between the suspect and the victim. But here is that video of Ana Trujillo, 44-year-old, who is now charged with murdering her boyfriend. According to court documents, the two went to a club Saturday night and shared 2 bottles of wine and tequila shots. Then they went back to the victim's home, and early Sunday, they got into an altercation about Trujillo leaving town to visit her daughter. Now, Trujillo told police that during a brief struggle, she stabbed her boyfriend several times with her stiletto heel.
And so I was fighting, right? And I was begging him to let me go. But I did grab by the hair and I was trying to get out, And then he wouldn't. He got more on top of me. And I couldn't breathe. I was on my face,
Is he sitting on you or laying on you? Or?
Yeah, he's on top. Yeah, like yeah, he got me, and we, you know, we wrestled because I was trying to get away. So he landed on top of me.
Okay.
And so I remember grabbing him by the hair or his shirt or whatever I could, right, to try to get from underneath him because I was suffocating.
She was moving out, and he didn't want her to move out. He was drunk, and he's a pretty bad alcoholic from what I came to find out. And something snapped, and they got into a fight. Jack Carroll, I was the lead defense attorney for Ana Trujillo.
I wasn't breathing, and the more I couldn't breathe, like I was losing consciousness. But then, yeah, he did hit me. He started, like with one hand, he got me, and then he started hitting me, and I was telling him to please stop. And so I was like, and he was hitting me, and I couldn't breathe. So the only thing I could do is get this arm, and I don't know if I took my shoe off or I was there. And I was pleased that, and I wasn't in there, so I got the shoe, and I started, like, please, like, whatever I could. I was trying to grab whatever I could. I was just, yeah, I was hitting him to please get away, right? And then he lost his balance while I was hitting him, you know, and then, so then I got on top of him, you know, and I was like, stay down, Stefan. But then he grabbed me. He wouldn't let me go.
You believed her?
Yeah, I did. The evidence was all there.
And then he, like, when he would grab me, he was trying to hit me, and I was like, please. So I was just, and then he grabbed me, and I was just hitting him with the shoe, please stop. And then that's when I was trying to get, and he wouldn't let me, you know, like, he had me, and I was like, please. And I was like, Stefan. And then that's when I saw the blood, and I was like, oh, Stefan, please, listen, you're bleeding. If I let you go, can you not hurt me?
Were you able to see where the blood was coming from on him?
No, at first I didn't even see anything. I didn't even know there was blood coming out of him. He was so, like, full of, you know, like,
angry and rage.
Yeah. He didn't even seem like he was hurt or nothing was wrong with him. He was so, like, you know, and he was still, like, you know, it's like he was growing, like, doing, and, you know, and I was like, and here I am, like, and I felt sick, and, like, I saw him when he was bleeding, and I was like, when I saw the blood, I was like, if I would have known, you know, it's like, I panicked, and I just saw the blood, but I didn't care. Like, all the blood, you know, the blood started coming out. So I just grabbed it, and I kept giving him, like, breathing, and he was breathing. So that's when I called.
I was at that crime scene within 48 hours, where I was given access to the apartment, and I saw the blood and the blood pattern. That crime scene gave us an indication of what went on in that apartment. That didn't mean that there couldn't have been abuse prior to that, but as far as the crime scene and where the blood was, pretty quickly we realized that what she was claiming just wasn't consistent with what the crime was.
How key was the blood spatter to the investigation?
Well, the blood spatter ended up being key not only to the investigation, but in the trial itself, because witnesses can tell you different things. The great thing about scientific evidence, it doesn't lie. It told a story, and that story, through Chris Duncan, one of the foremost experts at the time, was that Dr. Stefan Anderson was laying on his back as she continued to strike him 25 or 30 times with that high heel shoe. The way that the cast-off was, the way that the blood hit the wall, the way that her jeans were soaked in blood, it was obvious that she had straddled him and she had beaten him to death.
Was there any blood high up?
No. Only the cast-off that would have come up from when you hit a source, and then it would come up.
So in other words, if her version was accurate, you would have seen more blood at a higher level on the wall.
In addition, there would be the furniture would be disturbed because she talked about a struggle and things of that nature.
How do you reconcile the fact that his testimony was based on the blood splatter? It showed that he was on the floor being hit repeatedly and not someone who is standing and getting hit by somebody who's trying to defend themselves and get away.
We hired, I guess, a very famous blood spatter expert by the name of Tom Bevel. If you ever watch the Forensic Files, he's on there all the time on some of the bigger cases that they've ever had. And I hired him, and he told me he felt she was guilty, that the blood spatter didn't add up. When I looked at it, it was like a picture that's been painted. And to me, I felt I could see what actually happened.
That didn't give you a moment of pause at all?
No.
At what point did you go, this is not a case of self-defense, this is murder, and we're going to try it as murder?
You know, obviously in the state of Texas, you get the, you can claim self-defense, and in Texas, because of our culture, people will sometimes give someone that self-defense. So not only do you have to look at the physical evidence, you have to look at the surrounding circumstances. Pretty early on, we were able to track down the cab driver who had taken Stefan and the defendant from the last bar they were at in the medical center to the high-rise apartment. And I spoke to her within a couple weeks of the murder. And she explains how Stefan was very calm during that cab ride home. She was yelling at him, screaming at him, cursing him, belittling him all the way to the apartment.
For what?
She wanted to stay at the bar, allegedly. You can see the footage. She is walking around. She is flirting with a bunch of people. He wants to go home. The footage from the lobby of the apartment complex, he walks in and he appears to be defeated. His head is down, and you see him going into the elevator. Moments later, she would kill him.
I wanted to leave, and he didn't let me leave. He wouldn't let me leave. And I'm like, please, please let me leave.
Keep in mind, it is a fiction that they were still together. They had broken up. Ana Trujillo was couch surfing through different people. She was staying at Stefan's home briefly because she was planning on going to West Texas. You know this because her luggage was still in the doorway of the apartment. So the relationship had already ended.
Her defense attorney argued that he was a drunk who just snapped and became enraged.
Stefan Anderson was an alcoholic. No denying that. He drank a lot. But not one person that we talked to who witnessed him intoxicated ever saw him angry, as opposed to Ana Trujillo.
I immediately thought, when I thought a woman with stilettos kills a guy, I immediately thought of Ana.
Jim Carroll says it's been about 5 months since he last saw Ana Trujillo. He knows her, though, as Anna Fox, and says she's a masseuse. The two, he says, were just friends, but they hung out quite a bit.
Sitting on my balcony, twice she told me that if anybody ever messed with her, not in those words, but if anybody ever messed with her, she pulled her heel off and says, I'll get him with this. And it was a big stiletto heel.
Houston police responded to Ana Trujillo's high-rise condo early Sunday morning. She called police saying she was being beaten. But when officers arrived, 59-year-old Stefan Anderson, a University of Houston biology professor, was found dead. Police say they were a couple. Anderson was stabbed in the head multiple times. According to investigators, the weapon was a stiletto heel.
There's a large amount of blood that was in the residence and some debris that it looks like some type of altercation that took place.
The 44-year-old does have a criminal record, a DWI, and also a theft by check charge. Court records indicate she also went by the name Anna Fox. Currently, she's charged with murder, and her bond is set at $100,000.
Then I saw the picture this morning on your website, and I went, uh-oh, and it was Anna.
Everywhere we looked, Anna, there was something common. Anna and alcohol and violence. And we literally she was known to hang out in bars in downtown Houston. We spoke to a barback who is a little guy, was passing by her one day, and while people were at the bar, he saw there was an earring on the ground. He reached down, handed it to her, and she slapped him across the face for handing her the earring. We talked to another person, just out of the blue, slapped him across the face. And he was a gentle person, really nice guy, And we found these people by literally going to places we knew she went, and we asked bartenders, asked restaurant staff, hey, do you know this person? Oh yeah, we do. And it was story after story. There was an incident involving a security guard who was telling her to leave an establishment, and she lunged at him, and he happened to have long hair, and she pulled his hair where hair was coming out in her hands. So there was these uncontrollable, unprovoked crimes of violence. Not huge, like not involving weapons, but involving her slapping people, biting people. Remember how I said that she was couch surfing around this time? There was another former boyfriend of hers that she was staying at his residence, and he had moved on and had a new girlfriend, but they were allowing her to stay at the residence. And just out of the blue, as he's sitting in the chair and the new girlfriend is witness to it, she walks up to him and bites him on his face.
Were you prepared to defend her character?
Oh yeah, but I couldn't get people to testify for her.
Why not?
I'll leave that to your imagination.